When it comes to survival movies, the best ones strip characters down to a primal state and force them to survive in hostile environments. No one knows who will make it, or whether the cold, hunger, or fear will overtake them first. If you're in the mood for movies where people are pushed to their absolute limits, today I've got 7 of the best survival movies you can stream on Netflix right now. Before we begin, make sure to hit that settings gear and switch this video to 4K resolution for the ultimate crisp cinema experience. First up, at number 7, we have a survival movie built on a simple but terrifying premise. What would you do if you were trapped on top of a 2,000-foot radio tower? This is Fall. It follows 2 friends who get stuck at the peak of a remote radio tower with no ladder and no safe way down. Fall is far more nerve-wracking than an average survival film because it preys heavily on the fear of heights. You constantly feel like they could slip at any moment, and the longer they go without water or shelter, the more desperate their attempts to get down become. The director actually filmed the actors on a 100-foot tower constructed on top of a mountain, so what you're seeing isn't a green screen, it's genuine fear and practical stunts. Fall is a pure survival thriller, and easily one of the most tense movies in the genre. At number 6, we have a fast-paced survival action thriller. This is Beast. It follows a father and his 2 daughters who find themselves relentlessly hunted by a massive rogue lion. Beast traps the family inside their SUV with no cell signal, no help coming, and miles of open South African savanna surrounding them. The car, which is supposed to be their sanctuary, quickly begins to feel like a prison. The movie maintains a constant drip of adrenaline as you wonder how long they can possibly last before the lion gets in. It's incredibly fast-paced, packed with action, and even borders on horror. If you want a simple but highly effective man versus nature movie, Beast is a silent choice. Coming in at number 5, we have a historical survival film based on the true story of a Danish exploration team stranded in one of the harshest environments on Earth. It's called Against the Ice. It centers on 2 men with dwindling supplies trapped in the freezing cold of Greenland. Because they are stranded for such an extended period, the isolation and brutal elements begin to severely impact their physical and mental well-being. Food becomes critically scarce, forcing the explorers to make agonizing moral decisions just to stay alive. If you enjoy survival stories where the psychological threats are just as dangerous as the physical environment, Against the Ice is a highly rewarding watch. If you're enjoying these recommendations so far, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button for Crisp Cinema. We drop weekly curated movie guides, so you never have to waste time searching for something good to watch. At number 4 is a claustrophobic survival movie that takes place almost entirely in one location, inside a shipping container. This is Nowhere. It follows a pregnant woman who flees her country hidden inside a shipping container, only to end up knocked overboard and stranded alone in the middle of the ocean. Much like the SUV in Beast, the container becomes both her only protection and her potential tomb. There is nowhere to run, no rescue party on the way, and nearly every new development makes her chances of survival worse. The container becomes her entire world, acting as both her salvation and her personal hell. Nowhere is a stripped-down, high-stakes film focused entirely on endurance and utter desperation. Next up, at number 3, is one of the most epic survival movies you'll find on Netflix, set in one of the most hostile environments on the planet. This is Everest. Based on the true story of the 1996 Everest disaster, the same event that inspired the book Into Thin Air, the film follows 2 expedition teams attempting to summit the mountain just as a brutal storm rolls in. The climbers are trapped in the death zone, where the severe lack of oxygen acts as a lethal ticking clock. It also presents impossible moral dilemmas. If you are capable of moving, but the person next to you is not, do you keep going to save yourself, or do you stop and risk dying to help them? It's an intense, spectacle-heavy movie. If you want something genuinely overwhelming, Everest is an incredible pick. At number 2, we have a deeply intense and emotionally heavy film, Society of the Snow. This recounts the harrowing true story of a Uruguayan rugby team whose plane crashed deep in the Andes Mountains in 1972, leaving the survivors completely cut off from the world. Society of the Snow masterfully captures the freezing cold, the starvation, and the immense psychological toll of their situation. One of the most famous and devastating aspects of this true story is the moral dilemma the group faced, ultimately having to consume the bodies of their deceased friends in order to stay alive.
While this event was previously adapted in the 1993 film Alive, Society of the Snow is a much more serious, grounded, and realistic portrayal. It is a powerful, unforgettable film and one of the most haunting survival stories ever told. Finally, at number 1, we have one of the most brutal and unforgiving survival films ever made, The Revenant. It follows a badly wounded frontiersman in the 1820s who was left for dead by his hunting team after a savage bear attack, forcing him to crawl and fight his way through the frozen wilderness to survive. The Revenant is a grueling, gritty masterpiece. For a large portion of the film, Hugh Glass cannot walk, speak, or defend himself. The wilderness itself is a constant, punishing antagonist. He is stripped down to his rawest survival instincts, eating raw bison liver, sleeping inside animal carcasses, and cauterizing his own wounds with gunpowder. It is a visually stunning, intensely tough cinematic achievement. If you want the ultimate big-budget survival experience, The Revenant is absolutely top tier.
And as a quick honorable mention, if you're looking for another fantastic, stripped-down survival story, be sure to check out Arctic. It's a gripping film about a man stranded completely alone in the frozen tundra, and is highly worth your time. Thanks for watching Crisp Cinema, and I'll see you in the next one.